So today we're going to go through the answers of the exam questions for Unit 202. Hopefully you would have written your answers on the paper, and now we're just going to check through it, and I'll explain about them just so that you're a little bit more familiar with what to answer. So state the pH value of each of the following, and this is an approximate amount. So ideally you would put just one number down, so you would put any number between 6 and 8 for shampoo. Hair relaxing agents was 10 to 12. Hair conditioner 4.5 to 5.5, and lightening products could have been anything between 9 and 10.5, and that would have got you 4 marks for that. Question 2. Explain the effects of the hair structure of leaving an alkaline product on the hair for too long. So we know that alkaline is far away from the natural pH, which is 4.5 to 5.5. So it's going to cause some damage. So it damages the cuticle, makes the hair feel rough, brittle, over porous, looks dull, frizzy, causes the hair to lose its elasticity and damages the cortex inside. Polypeptide chains weaken, causing the hair to break, could act as a depilatory, which could destroy the hair. So that is something that dissolves the hair, thinking like a hair removal cream. Hydrogen salt linkages breaks the stronger disulfide linkages as well. So it's really important to get 4 marks for that you write at least 4 different answers. Describe how sun protection works. Yet again, it's 4 marks. Forms a barrier to the skin, slows down the tanning, burning process. Sunscreens reflect the sunlight, absorb the UV light while hydrating the skin, and any other marks will be given for any other answers as well. But you need 4 different answers to get 4 marks. Describe 2 features of a good sun protection product. So it's 2 features. Broad spectrum sunscreens are better as it will contain UVA and UVB ingredients. Waterproof will last longer, and high factor for more protection. So any other factors that could have been considered would be accepted as well for 2 marks. Name the layer of the skin where fat cells are stored. So we're just looking for one layer, that's the hypodermis. You could also put the subcutaneous layer, but I only teach the hypodermis, and that will be easier for you to remember. Explain the function of the nerve endings found in the skin. So that's 4 marks. So full sentences, write in your answers all about the nerve endings. So nerves, you feel different senses such as pain, touch, feel, heat, cold, pressure, which protect the body from harm and also regulates body temperature. Next one, name the ingredients that match each function of, you've got preservative, anti-fungicide, antibacterial. So the ingredient that matches that would be the parabens. To maintain shelf life, that would be stabilizers. To prevent bacterial infection of the skin, that would be your antiseptic. And to preserve moisture content, that's your humectants as well. So that's 4 marks. You get 1 mark for each of those. The next one, you define the term pathogen. So what is a pathogen? We know it's some sort of germ, isn't it? So it causes diseases. It is a germ, or you could use the word bacteria or microorganism, fungi or viruses. Okay, so just explain a little bit about a pathogen. Obviously how it possibly might enter the body as well. It could enter it through a cut in the hand or on the skin. Explain the body's internal defense to bacteria. So this is where 4 marks, we're looking for 4 different answers. So we know that skin is the first line of defense. Skin forms a waterproof barrier. The immune system fights diseases. White blood cells surround pathogens to kill them off. Antibodies neutralize pathogens. Histamines is a natural way to stop bacteria entering, such as teardrops, earwax, nasal hair, and also stomach acid. So think about everything you know about bacteria and how we can stop that entering the body and how it can be killed off. Next question, what colour is the universal indicator when the pH value of a substance is neutral? So neutral is Number 7 is in the middle, but it's not asking for the number, it's asking for the colour, which is green. What is the pH value of a strong acid? So yet again, it's not asking for the colour, it's actually asking for the value of it. And that is strong, which is anything from 0 to 3 they would accept. So if you wrote numbers 1 or 2 or 3, that would have given you 1 mark. Explain the effects of hair conditions being acid. So this is worth 4 marks. Acid closes the cuticles to help the hair shine. And we know that acid, even though it sounds quite harsh, actually the hair in its natural pH state is acid. So 4.5 to 5.5 is acid. Also, colour won't fade if the cuticle scales are closed. The hair is easier to comb if the cuticle scales are flat. Breaks less if you can comb through the hair easier. Acid stops oxidization of colour to minimise hair damage and over process of colour work to ensure the scalp is at its acid mantle level. Next question. Name 4 contagious disorders that may affect hairdressing services. So impetigo, scabies, ringworm, head lice, that would have been accepted for your 4 marks. State the number of layers in the epidermis. So we know the epidermis is the top layer, but how many layers are in that top layer? It's actually 5 layers. Name the top 2 layers of the epidermis. So you've got the horny layer and the clear layer. Describe how cuticle removers work. This is worth 4 marks. Cuticle remover is an alkaline product, softens the skin to allow it to be pushed back, breaks down the keratin to the skin, removes dead tissue surrounding the nail plate. Alkali product, which is 12 and upwards, if that is left on too long, it will burn. So the cuticle remover is what goes on the nail, just where the half moon shape is, and you just need to describe how does that work. You should have done this in lesson, so you should remember how that actually affects the cuticles. State the function of blood vessels found in the skin. So this is 2 marks. Blood vessels circulate blood throughout your body. They help deliver oxygen to vital organs and tissues and also remove waste products. The blood vessels in the dermis provide nourishment and remove waste from its own cells. So what do we know about blood vessels and how does it work? And that will give you 2 marks. State the pH value of the following products. Skin cleanser, which is 5. An astringent, which is between 5 and 7. Cuticle remover, which is quite strong, so that's 12. Hair conditioner, 4.5 to 5.5. That will give you 4 marks. Explain 2 effects of using alkalis on the hair. Even though it's asking you for 2 effects, it's worth 4 marks, so you're going to need to kind of justify your answer or write a little bit more. Damaging the hair cuticle, making the hair look dull, feels rough and overporous. The cortex is damaged, causing the hair to lose its elasticity. So if you did an elasticity test, it could be quite weak. When you stretch it, it could break. Polypeptide chains weaken, causing the hair to break. Could act as a depilatory and destroy the hair if it is too strong. So that's like a hair removal cream, which is really strong, and it will dissolve the hair. Explain the benefits of using hair conditioner. So why do we use hair conditioner? It's worth 6 marks, so we're really going to have to go into detail. Why do we use it? So conditioner is an acid which closes the cuticles to help the hair shine. So all those cuticle scales will lay flat back down. When they lay flat, it locks in the colour. So colour won't fade if the cuticle scales are closed. The hair is easier to comb if the cuticle scales are flat. Breaks less if you can comb through the hair easier. Make sure that you use a wide tooth comb as well when combing with conditioner on. Acid stops oxidization of colour to minimise hair damage and over process of colour work to ensure the scalp is at its acid mantle, protects the cortex from further damage if the scales are closed. State 1 type of products used in the hair and beauty sector that contains each of the following ingredients. So this is your long word. Your paraphenyllenediamine, with your PPDs, as we like to shorten it because it's so long. That's found in hair dyes, so it's your permanent hair dyes and your semi-permanents. Antiseptic, that's found in creams like Salon, Sudocrem. Humectants, that's found in moisturizers. And dihydroxyacetone, that's found in fake tan. So these are ones that you kind of need to remember. List 2 methods of testing the pH of a skin product. So in lesson you should have tested the pH of products, and you would have used litmus paper or universal indicators, and that would have given you 2 marks, so 1 mark for each of those. State the approximate value of hair conditioners. Just stick with pH 5 for hair conditioner. You know it's 4.5 to 5.5, so just put 5. It makes it easier. Explain the effects of different strength alkaline products on the hair structure. This is worth 4 marks. You're going to have to go into detail here. So the hair swells, or it opens the cuticle scales. The higher the strength, the greater the lift of the colour. Breaks down, destroys the bonds in the cortex. Has a depilatory hair removal action with a very high pH hair damage. Allows colours to enter the cortex to permanently change the hair colour. So that's if it's quite a high alkaline product. The lower the strength causes less damage to the hair, allowing it to return back to its natural pH quicker. So putting on something which is like a 7.5 or an 8 causes less damage to the hair to something that you're putting on maybe like a 12 or a 13. The top layer of the epidermis is named the horny layer. List the next 3 layers. So you've got the clear layer, the granular layer, and the prickle cell layer. You need to get those 3 in the correct order to get 3 marks. List 5 functions of the skin. It's 5 marks given there. So go into detail. Sensation, so this is your shapes, isn't it? Reacts to touch, e.g. pain, touch, cold, pressures. Heat regulation, which is sweating, shivering, goosebumps. Absorption of moisture and vitamin D protection against harmful UV rays, bacteria, etc. Excretion of waste products through sweat glands, and secretion of sebum, oil and water. So if you remember shapes, the acronym, and remember what each of them stand for, and kind of explain what each of them is, then that will give you the full 5 marks. Compare animal testing of cosmetic products to its alternatives and justify your answer. It's 6 marks here, so you really need to go into detail. Animal testing is still happening in countries outside the EU, we know that. Ingredients and placed onto animals which could have caused irritation, blindness, sores, blisters, etc. This is done to help indicate how safe it is for human use. So we test on animals to see if it's safe for humans. However, animals don't have the same genetics, they have different genetics, and not all tests carried out on animals are safe for humans. So just because we test them on animals doesn't really mean that they're safe for humans at all. Its alternatives would be to use humans for testing to get more of an accurate result, or episkin, which is reconstructed human skin tissue from the epidermis, grown in a laboratory, and then tested on creating more accurate results and less harm to humans. Describe each of the following disorders and how they may affect the hair and beauty services. This is worth 8 marks. You really need to go into detail and justify your answer. Just explain why. So you've got keloids as firm rubbery nodules in an area prior injury to the skin. This may affect waxing areas around the keloid, cover the area on the head or neck with longer hair, so you don't want it to be seen if they've got it visible. Split ends, the hair shaft that splits into 2, or more when the hair is dry or damaged. Applying chemical service to the hair could create the hair to be more damaged, really, or even break off. Advise a client to trim hair, or maybe some conditioning treatments. Alopecia areata, areas of the head or face where the immune system has destroyed the hair follicle, causing areas of baldness due to hair loss. Leave hair longer to cover balding areas. Avoid areas when colouring or waxing. Number 4 is eczema. So it looks like dry skin. It could be itchy, it could be rashes, scaly patches, blisters, or even create skin infections. Avoid areas when colouring, perming, waxing, facials, as it could cause more harm, which we don't want to do to clients. And regular moisturising to soften the skin. So eczema needs to have regular moisturising about 3 or 4 times a day to really dry that up. Name the industry which carries out men's hairstyling. The industry is barbering. That would have given you 1 mark. State 3 other services carried out by someone working in the above industry. So the above industry is barbering. You've got 3 marks here. We're looking for 3 services that are carried out in a barber's, and something that you can actually pay for on the price list. So they could have cutting, facial, skincare, massage, shaving beard shaping, facial hair shaping, colouring, perming, facials, waxing, eyebrow shaping, or even patterns in the hair. They don't accept things like washing hair. Washing hair is not a service in the salon. So it needs to be with something. Or even, cutting and styling. Name 1 paramedical treatment which may be carried out by a beauty therapist. So this is only worth 1 mark, but you need to know what a paramedical treatment is. So these are things like laser treatments, cosmetic injections, Botox fillers, microblading, dermaplaning, semi-permanent tattooing on the face, which is for eyes, lips and brows. Explain the functions of the dermal papilla. That's worth 2 marks. So what does it do? Its function is to determine the hair formation, the growth, the colour and the cycle. Explain the functions of the nerve endings on the skin. It's worth 2 marks. So what do the nerve endings do? So its primary function is all about sensations. So touch, pain, itch, warmth and cold, and all those sensations are there to protect the human body. Describe 1 method of testing the pH of shampoo. So we can use either the universal indicator or litmus paper. And how do we do it? We dip it into the product and watch the colour change against the pH chart. Explain the effects of using a very strong alkali on the hair and the skin. So this is worth 4 marks. The hair swells, opens the cuticle scales, breaks down, destroys the bonds in the cortex, has a depilatory hair removal action, hair damage or breakage, weakening of the structure, skin breaks down skin cells, has exfoliating properties and would also burn the skin. So you need to break it into 2. So what does it do to the hair and also what does it do to the skin? Next question, what is the skin's acid mantle made up of? It's worth 2 marks. So you get a mark for sebum and a mark for sweat. Explain the role of the shampoo molecules when creating an emulsion, and this is worth 4 marks. The shampoo molecule has a water-loving head and a grease-loving tail. The shampoo breaks down the water tension and embeds itself into the dirt, grease, and removes dirt, grease, smells from the hair. And we know that there's a hydrophobic, which is the head, and a hydrophobic part, which is a tail. So when the product is mixed together, we know water and oil doesn't mix together, but actually if we put a shampoo molecule in there, it creates that emulsion, which is the bubbles. State the purpose of each of the following ingredients found in beauty products. So why do we put these products in there? So parabens, it maintains shelf life and also antifungal, stops it going mouldy. Pigments is the colour molecules in a product. Antioxidants reduces the effects of oxidization. oxidation, and or helps to prevent, reduce, neutralize free radical skins. So that is worth 3 marks if you get all those 3 correct. Describe the term hyperallergenic. So if you found a product with hyperallergenic written on it, what does it mean? It's a product that has been tested to reduce allergic reactions or unlikely cause of an allergic reaction. That's worth 1 mark. Name the following conditions. Bald patches on the scalp. So in areas it could be alopecia, excessive greasy hair, seborrhea, patches of silvery thick scales on the skin, that's psoriasis. So you need to be able to identify what the conditions are just by looking at it. Explain 3 ways a beauty therapist can protect themselves from pathogens. So we know pathogens are germs. What can we do to protect ourselves? So we could wear face masks. You can wear eye protections like the goggles. You can wear gloves, plasters. You can also wash your hands as well. What colour is the universal indicator when the pH of a substance is a strong acid? So if we look at the universal indicator, if it's really strong, it'd be down to 0, and that colour is red. What is the value of a very strong alkali? So we're looking at the value. The value is a number, not a colour. So strong alkali is anything up the high end, so something between 12 and 14 they would accept. Explain why many hair and beauty products are pH balanced. Why do you think they balance the pH of all the hair and beauty products? And it's worth 6 marks. You really need to kind of justify your answer and think of as many things as you can. So the pH balance of the hair, skin and nails is 4.5 to 5.5, which we know. Maintains the skin acid mantle and prevents infection. Balanced products keeps the cuticles closed and prevents the hair from further damage. If the product is too alkali, it will break down the hair. If the product is too acid, it will burn the skin. So if there's any other information you can add to that, that's fine. But the more information you give, the more marks you will get. Explain the function of the cortex. So the cortex we know is inside the hair. So the cortex gives the hair strength and shape. The colour of the hair is determined in the cortex. Explain the function of the cuticle. Yet again, this is just talking to about the cuticle of the hair. 2 marks. The cuticle scales overlap like fish scales to protect the cortex inside. It protects the strength of the cortex inside, regulates the amount of moisture chemicals that go in and out of the hair. How does the human body defend itself against bacteria infections? Yet again, this is worth 6 marks, so justify your response. The skin is the largest organ of the body, we know that, and it forms a protective barrier, which unless broken, so if you've got a cut or graze on you, will not allow bacteria inside. Scabs form on the broken skin, can close and protect the wound from infection. The skin's acid mantle creates a natural barrier to bacteria. White blood cells surround the bacteria to destroy them internally, prevents entry of bacteria through the mucous membrane, so through your nasal hairs, tear ducts, eyelashes, earwax and saliva. Antibodies, the immune system to recognize toxins and destroy them. So the body is quite a clever thing. It will stop bacteria getting in as long as the skin is not broken. Name 2 contagious skin disorders, and that's worth 2 marks. Contagious things where you can catch this, so things like ringworm, impetigo, herpes, scabies, warts, verrucas, athlete's foot, carbuncles, and folliculitis. What action should be taken if a client has a suspected contagious disorder? So what do we do if we recognise something? We're not doctors. So do not carry out the service. I would stop the treatment, ensure not to name the condition as you're not a doctor. refer them to the GP trichologist, sterilise all the tools and equipment used, make sure you stick it on at 60 degrees or more so that we can kill off any bacteria. Advise the client to avoid contact with others. What is the colour? What colour is the universal indicator when the pH of the substance is a strong alkali? So alkali is up the other end, it's purple. State the function of blood vessels found in the skin. It's worth 2 marks. So that's to provide nutrients to the hair, aid cell renewal and promote hair growth. So why do we have blood vessels in the skin? Name 2 bacterial infections found on the skin. Impetigo, folliculitis or carbuncles. Explain the importance of identifying bacterial infections before carrying out hair and beauty services. So it's worth 6 marks. Justify your response. Make the infection worse or spread to other areas. It could cause harm to clients. Cross-contamination to other tools and materials. So everything you touch and everything like a towel would touch, it would all spread. You could pass it on to the beautician. So the beautician will have to be off work, or even worse, clients. And if you pass it on to clients, there will be negative reviews on the salon, which means that the salon could close down or lose a bit of business. State 3 services commonly carried out by nail technicians. This is worth 3 marks. Manicures, pedicures, gel, nail polish, shellac, acrylic nails, nail extensions, nail art. So any services really carried out in a nail shop. What we don't really want is things like hair cutting written down, because that is the wrong shop. So think of a nail price list. State 2 hair and beauty products that act as detergents. So things that form emulsion, that really create bubbles. So things like shampoo, shower gel, hand wash, face wash. Explain why parabens are added to products. So you have to know what a paraben is, and they are added to products because they are a preservative to help maintain the shelf life and has antifungal to stop mold growing. State whether the following products are acid or alkali. So you just need to think, what end of the chart is it on? Is it acid or is it alkaline? So cuticle remover, we know that's quite strong, so that's an alkali. Skin cleanser, we know that's gentle on the skin, so it's an acid. Hair relaxer, that's quite strong as well. It changes the hair from curly to straight, so that's an alkali. Explain the effect on the hair structure of acid. 2 marks. So if you put acid on the hair structure, it closes the cuticle scales. Think of it like a conditioner. What does it do? Makes the hair shine, makes it smooth, protects the cortex, and also brings the hair back to its natural pH. Explain the importance of carrying out an elasticity test. So the elasticity test, describe what it is. So you wet the hair down, a single strand of hair, and you gently pull it to see if it stretches and returns back to its normal length. If it continues stretching, then obviously the hair is damaged. So we're doing it to check the strength or the condition of the hair or the cortex to see if the service can be carried out. To help choose the correct products and most suitable tools, techniques or services. If the hair stretches and returns, it shows that the polypeptide chains are intact and the hair is strong. If the hair stretches and breaks, it shows that the cortex is weak. So if the cortex is weak, you will change your brush that you're going to use, so there's not a lot of tension. And also you might not even colour the hair because the hair is so weak and fragile that it would just turn to bubblegum. Name 2 legislations which ensure beauty products are fit for purpose. So you need to know about your acts. Cosmetics Products Safety Regulations and the Trades Description Act and the Sales of Good Act. So there's 3 different acts there that you could have wrote about, but it's worth 2 marks, so at least 2 of them you need to write about. State 2 reasons for using artificial skin tissue when product testing. So we know that this is good. using artificial skin tissue. So to avoid animal testing, to avoid harm to animals, to adhere to legislation for safety, to check if the products are safe for human use or human skins, and avoid harm to humans. Explain the role of the RSPCA in ensuring the safety of animals. It's worth 4 marks here. So what do we know about the RSPCA and how do they protect animals? So the RSPCA introduced new laws to protect animal safety and check living conditions, homes of animals, to prevent animals from neglect and or cruelty. The work to stamp out large-scale, serious, organised commercial animal cruelty and animal testing. Educate the public about alternative to animal testing. Rescue victimised animals. Provide injured animals with veterinary care. Explain 3 functions of the skin. It's only asking for 3, but yet it's worth 6 marks, so you're going to have to justify your answer. So think of shapes. So you've got sensation from heat, cold, pain to reduce, avoid harm. Heat regulation helps to regulate the body's temperature by sweating, then cools the body by evaporation. Absorption, skin absorbs moisture. Water, oils, minerals to maintain a healthy skin acid mantle. Protection against UV rays, which minimises the risk of skin cancer, protects internal organs from injury and diseases, elimination to removal, and produces vitamin D for healthy bones. Secretes sweat, sebum oil that lubricates, nourishes the surface of the skin. Describe the benefits of a massage. Why do we have a massage? What good does it do? So it increases, stimulates blood flow, aids cell renewal, aids mobility, aids the removal of toxins, gives sense of well-being, it relaxes your body, reduces stress, energizes and stimulates the client, relieves tension and reduces muscle pain. So anything along there will get you 3 marks. So we've got some images now that often come up in exams. So identify the layers of the hair structure shown in the diagram. So as you can see, this is a cross section of the hair. What is A? A is the medulla. What is B? B is the cortex. And C is the cuticle. So you need to be able to identify them correctly. Now the second part of this, it says, can you match the correct function with the layer? So what does a medulla do? Well, basically it has no use at all. Not every strand has it. So the thicker the hair strand would contain it. A lot of fine hair don't even have medullas. The next one, B, the cortex, that's made up of polypeptide chains and determines the hair strength. So that keeps the hair strong. The cuticle is the outside, so it overlaps like fish scales to protect the inner structure. So if the cuticle gets damaged, then obviously the hair will lose its strength. And if it loses its strength, it breaks and then it damages the hair. Your hair will get shorter. This is another question. Label the diagram of a nail. So this is a nail. You need to know what each letter is pointing to. So A is the free edge, B is the hypogeum, C is the nail bed, and D is the nail plate. Can you match the functions of the parts identified above? So as long as you've got them in the right order, then you'll get marks for it. So you need to know how to label the nail. And in the exam question, it might have different parts of the nail that it's labelled to. So you might need to know more areas as well. So what does the free edge do? It's hardened or keratinized barrier that protects the fingertips. Hypogeum provides the blood supply from the nail for healthy nail growth. The nail bed is a hardened shield that protects the nail from damage, and the nail plate protects the nail bed by forming a seal or barrier. So learn to label and the diagram of a nail, but all the parts of the nail and what are the functions of those parts. The next part is the skin structure in the diagram below. So as you can see, there's only 4 things it's pointed to, but there's quite a few things on there that it could point to. So this is what's come up previously. It might point to other areas of the structure of the skin. So you need to know how to label everything in there. So A is the hair shaft, B is the sebaceous gland, C is the sweat gland, D is the hypodermis. So try not to mix up the sweat gland and the sebaceous gland. We know that the sebaceous gland is oil, and if you think oil goes on hair, it's going to be the one closest to the actual strand of hair. So it produces sebum. Now we've got a similar image with different parts kind of here to label. This is the hair and skin, so A, B and C. A is the epidermis, B is the dermis, and C is the hypodermis. So that there is Unit 202. If you need the following Unit 201, then you'll have to find the video for that and to get the answers for it.